Hello students, welcome to Joy Study Point. I hope you all are fine. So today we are starting with this poem The Cold Within, which has been composed by James Patrick Kinney. So before starting stanza wise, I'm giving you brief information about this poem or as well as author. So James Patrick Kinney is an American poet who wrote this poem in 1960s. But in 1960s he wrote this poem although it was first rejected. It was although it was first rejected as being too controversial, but it gained popularity rapidly after it had been read out at a council meeting of a religions. So this poem describes the tragic death of a group of six who stand around a fire, each holding on grimly to a log of wood, allowing their selfishness, prejudice, malice, suspicions to dictate their actions. They refuse to share the log to the fuel, the dying fire, and keep each other warm. Eventually, the fire dies out, and in the morning, all six of them are found frozen to death. So now we are starting stanza wise. This is our first stanza. Six humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. So in this poem, this poem begins on a dramatic note. It attracts our attention. It attracts our attention at once by peculiar use of diction. The poet says that six humans get trapped by chance. Happenstance means by chance in a very bitter cold. Here, poet uses humans, not people. Why? So as to refer to all human beings. The six persons were in a situation from which there was no escape. They were sitting near the fire which was fasting die. Each of them had a stick of wood. Each of them had a stick. Possessed means had a stick of wood. This is how it is told in the story. We later realize that the stick in each hand is a symbol of sin. So we later realize that the stick in each hand is the symbol of sin basically. Now this is the second stanza. You can see their dying fire in need of logs. The first man held his back, for on the faces around the fire he noticed one was black. So in this stanza, the fire which was dying needed to be fed with a log of wood. The first of the group, the first man means the first of the group was a woman who was not ready to renounce her stick of wood to keep the fire burning, because she had noticed that one of them was black. She did not want to save the black person. So thus she acted out of her racial prejudice. You can see here, thus she acted out of her racial prejudice. Already given explanation of this stanza in this bracket. The first person in the group, a woman, is prejudiced when she notices that one of them was black. She therefore does not give her log of wood. Now this is third stanza. The next man, looking across the way, saw one knot of his church and couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. So here in this third stanza, the next one found in the group was a person not belonging to the same religion. Not of his church means not belonging to his religion. He could not persuade himself, and that man could not persuade himself to give up his stick, to give up his stick of wood to help a person of another religion. So he suffered from intolerance. You can say he suffered from intolerance. Next, this is fourth stanza. The third one said in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should his lock be put to use? To warm the idle rich. Tattered means ragged. You can say this ragged also. So the third man was very poor. He was tattered clothes. He wasn't tattered clothes or ragged clothes. He was full of bitterness. He was full of bitterness and envy. So for the rich, he gave his coat. So he gave his coat a hitch, which is suggestive of his tightness. That means a hitch means tightness. He is showing his tightness. He thought it would be unjust. It would be unjust to give what little he had to help others who had more than he. So he held his stick back. So he held his stick back. And the summary is also written here of this stranger. The poor did not give his word as he wanted to take revenge on the rich man sitting there. He did not want to waste his word for someone who has always benefited from his difficult work. Now, this is like fifth stanza. We are starting with this. The rich man just sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The language of this poem, students, is very easy. So you can easily understand what the stanza is saying. Okay. So this fifth stanza is saying the rich man continued. The rich man continues to continue to sit back and think. And he think of the money he had in a store, and how he could save it, and how he could save it from the lazy poor. He was thinking about that. He did not want to give anything. He did not want to give anything to undeserving, sorry, not deserving it, undeserving poor. He did not want to give anything to the undeserving poor, lazy, shiftless poor. So thus he showed his greed and stinginess. So now we start our last stanza, which is sixth stanza. Not last, it is sixth stanza. We have other two stanzas. So the black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from his sight. For all he saw in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. So the black man's face showed how much revengeful he was, how much revengeful he was. As the fire was dying, as the fire was passed from means, as the fire was dying, he thought he had the chance to hurt the white people by keeping his stick with him. He clearly suffered from the vice of spite. You can easily see this, how he clearly suffered from the vice of spite. Now, next stanza, which is seventh stanza, the last man of his forlorn group did not accept for gain, giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. So the last man in the group lacked generosity. He didn't have kind of generosity. So as no one else had given his stick, he thought like as no one else had given his stick, so he would also keep his stick with him. He would also keep his stick with him. In fact, like he did nothing except for gain. He did he do everything for gain only. So giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. So you can see how, like, the last man in the group lacked the generosity. Now, this is eighth stanza. Their locks held tight in death's still hands was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without, they died from the cold within. So you can see here, as the fire extinguished, all the persons died. They died not because of the cold outside. They died not because of the cold outside, but because of the cold within. Because of the cold within, they died because they were too selfish. They were too selfish to help others. And each of them had a log. Each of them had a log is still in his own it isn't like they were too selfish to help others, and each of them had a log. Each of them had a log still in his or her hand, suggestive that no one had renounced sinning, being unkind for one reason or others. So you can see here, there is, like, those people died not because of cold outside, but they died because of cold within. So this is the whole explanation of this poem. I hope you like this poem, poem explanation. If you like, so please press the like button and subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon also. Thank you everyone.